Rakataya Hawashah, Rakataya Hawa, Rakataya Hawashah, Rakataya Hawa, Rakataya Hawashah, Call Halal Yahweh, Bashem Yahawashah, Bashem Rakha Kadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered across the four winds. This is your brother Yakar Aben from Great Millstone, Houston, back with another lesson. And I was just looking over some things online, and it reminded me of the scriptures. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." And you Hebrew Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you have an enemy. Esau Edom is the enemy, and you're never to trust him. I mean, you're never to trust him, because look at the things that he's done in the past. Look at all the different snares that he's caught you up in. All the different things. How is it that you have a people that you don't even allow them to read for hundreds of years? It's against the law, because they want to hide this truth from you. But that's just one part of the many facets. It kind of reminds me of the movie The Golden Child, where the child was sitting in the middle of the room, and they had evil from every side, trying to defile the kid, and that's you Israelites. Esau is trying to defile you, and he's not the only one. You got the other nations, according to Psalms 83, that hate, the Lord's chosen people, and they've tried to hide them. But as it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So back in the ancient world, the looking glasses was iron. So once you polish it, it may look clean, but no, it's still rust in there. It's still going to be rust in there, and it's still going to continue to rust. And that's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. That is his MO. It says, "Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith." So yeah, I mean, look at the people over in the land. They cast the real Israelites, put them on cargo slave ships, forced them out of the land, and then guess what? They stood up in our place. It was all deemed by the Heavenly Father, but they've still done it. It says, "Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or as such as come nigh wild beasts?" I'm like, yeah, like if you trust in your enemy, you're going to get bitten. Eventually, you're going to get bitten. But I got a couple of quick videos, just to show you the wickedness of Esau Edom. I'm going to start out with this one.
Using a microwave is one of the vastest ways that you can make a good food, a food you might have spent more money on, or an organic food, a nutrient-dense food, a bad or toxic food. Now, we want our food reheated and warmed up. Totally understand that. I'm going to give you some alternatives of what myself and my family do. It's not that you could never use a microwave, but there are some downfalls. It definitely has been shown in studies to reduce the nutritional value of your food, and depending on what you're warming it up in, maybe leaching chemicals into your food. So let's break down a couple keys when it comes to the microwave. Depending on how long you cook the food, research actually shows that it may reduce the nutrient content from 5 or all the way up to 40% or more of certain nutrients in the food. Not all nutrients, but some of them are very susceptible to this heat. Now, it's a low level of radiation. Inherently, that metal box doesn't give off a super toxic radiation. However, it has been linked to cataracts, so it's just something to consider. Maybe you don't want to stand there in front of the microwave and watch your food. Not the best idea. However, when you put metal in it, you can nearly blow the house up. So there's got to be something to it. So what the research has shown that just using a microwave for 60 seconds, for example, on a superfood like garlic. Now, garlic has a lot of cholesterol-lowering properties, heart-helping properties, immune-boosting properties. But in garlic, one of the main things that does this is allanase. And allanase, the nutrient, is thought to have a lot of cancer-fighting effects. Just cooking it in a microwave for 60 seconds nearly deactivates that entire potent nutrient. If you cook broccoli in a microwave, you lose 97% of the antioxidants in the broccoli compared to if you steamed it, you only lose 11%. A few minutes of microwave cooking on milk can destroy 30 to 40% of the B vitamins inside of the milk. And microwaving foods that are high in vitamin C, fast way to zap the vitamin C content. Here's a study below on asparagus losing its vitamin C content when it is microwaved. Antioxidants are super susceptible to decreasing when it comes to microwave use. And not only does it reduce the amount of antioxidants in the food when you do cook it, it actually increases the amount of free radicals, and in some cases increases the amount of cancer-causing byproducts of overcooking food. Every form of cooking is susceptible to it, but microwave can have very high levels depending on how you cook something. A lot of times because it's losing the oxidative protection of a lot of the nutrients in the foods. Microwaves are also shown to oxidize cholesterol, where cholesterol becomes dangerous when it is oxidized. Microwaves lead to an increase in glucose and fat storing hormone responses inside of the body. And if you're cooking in a plastic container, the plastic can leach up to 44 different chemicals into your food. So what do we do about this? Instead, it's not that you can never use a microwave again. I highly encourage you to decrease the use, but our family uses a convection oven. And so we have a little oven on our stove top right next to the stove that we can pop food in, reheat it, make toast in, little toaster oven. That's all you need. Great replacement for the microwave and a different type of heat that's being used. We like to use the stove top. Put a little water in a pan, put a little oil in a pan, reheat something or use it to cook. You can use things like air fryers. Just be very careful of what the lining of the material is inside of it. Make sure there's not plastic lining. Make sure there's not a coated lining that's going to leach chemicals into your food. Otherwise, you could go for an air fryer. I love the convection ovens. A lot of convection ovens now have air fryers associated with them, or use the good old stovetop or oven. It might take you a couple more minutes, but it's worth protecting the nutrients in that food that you used hard-earned money on to try to get nutrients into your body, and you're losing it based on how you cook the food. Avoid plastic containers at all costs because they leach those materials in. And just to drive it home with one more point, check out this. A group of 8th graders got together and decided they would heat water to the same temperature using a microwave and boiling it. So heat it to the same temperature, same purified source water, and then they poured it on plants. It was an interesting study, and they actually did this. And this has been repeated multiple times all over the internet, but just kind of drives it home a little bit as a visual. On day 1, they poured it on this plant. So they used purified water that was boiled and microwaved water. And you can see the microwave water zaps these enzymes, these antioxidants, these nutrients from the water, and by the time you get to day 7, they trimmed back the dead parts of the plant. You can see the purified water plant was still thriving. And so what does this radiation do? We don't fully know yet on the full impact of what a microwave does, and waiting around for the studies kind of seems like waiting around for the studies on smoking. You're not a bad person if you use a microwave. I understand the ease of it. You could certainly probably be doing worse things for your health, but to protect those nutrients, make sure you're not leaching chemicals, and to keep your food more alive with the enzymes that are needed, try to use other methods of cooking and heating things. If you want more resources.
So when you go to the grocery store and you go to the storage aisle, you know, they have a whole aisle where it has these little cheap plastic containers that says microwave friendly. So, I mean, right here, you know, just a simple study, a simple look on the internet will show you that this devil, man, he's out of control. He is out of control. You know, he entices you to pop something in a microwave so you can heat it up quickly, but yet, the food turns into plastic. Essentially, the food turns into plastic. But
4 types of toxic cookware to avoid and 4 safe alternatives. Most people these days are well aware of the importance of eating healthy. However, not everyone knows that the cookware you use to prepare your dishes is just as important as the food itself. Even the healthiest diet can result in severe health complication if your pots and pans are toxic. If you're ready to find out...
Let's get this scripture real quick. It says, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Their inward thought of every one of them, and both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So yeah, they search out these iniquities, and they have done a search, and they know, what's bad and what's going to cause you harm. They know these things, but yet guess what? They still sell them to the people as if it's safe and clean, knowing that this shit is toxic.
Those dangers are, which cookware to avoid, and what safer alternatives you can replace them with, then keep on watching. 1. Teflon cookware. Teflon is probably the biggest offender on this list, so we'll start off strong. Many people choose this non-stick material because it's convenient and easy to find, yet they have no idea that it's also the most dangerous. The non-stick properties of Teflon cookware are achieved with a coating of PTFE, or polytetrafluoroethylene. This is a plastic polymer that, when heated above 572 degrees Fahrenheit, starts to release toxins. These toxic fumes lead to flu-like symptoms called polymer fume fever, informally known as Teflon flu. People begin to suffer from headaches, chills, and high temperature. Because Teflon fumes do the most damage on the lungs, people usually feel tightness in their chest and start coughing. The symptoms don't even appear right after a person has breathed in the fumes, but a couple of hours later. And it's not just dangerous to people. Teflon fumes are also fatal to pet birds like parrots. Another chemical compound found in Teflon cookware is PFOA, or perfluorooctanoic acid. This man-made chemical is also known as C8. It's especially threatening since it tends to stay in the body, as well as the environment, for long periods of time. Recent studies both in the lab and on humans have found a link between this substance and several types of cancer, including breast, prostate, and ovarian cancer. While it's believed that the PFOA present in Teflon products is in such small amounts that it poses no threat to people, it's worth noting that this stuff is also found in tons of other things you come in contact with every single day, like the water you drink. The amount depends on the area where you live, but in any case, it's best to limit your exposure to PFOA if you can. You can find non-stick cookware that's free of PTFE and PFOA, but it's usually coated with something like granite. This coating is safe to use as long as it's intact, but unfortunately, it's thin and chips easily. As soon as it starts coming off, you have to stop using that cookware item immediately. Try this safe alternative instead: real cast iron. This is a non-toxic cooking option that truly withstands the test of time. It heats well and evenly throughout. Plus, cast iron cookware even comes in non-stick varieties. It doesn't leak anything toxic into your food and is actually a nice natural way to increase your body's iron levels. And if your body doesn't need an iron boost, then you can try enameled cast iron cookware, which is just as safe and convenient to use. 2. Aluminum cookware and aluminum foil. It's no surprise that aluminum is so widely used. Besides being the most abundant metal out there, it's also very strong, lightweight, versatile, and recyclable. However, it's not without hidden dangers. Aluminum is a neurotoxic material. Elevated levels of aluminum in the body have been linked to several nervous system diseases, including Alzheimer's and ALS. Though aluminum cookware is usually coated, the coating is prone to chipping, allowing the toxic metal to get right into your food. As for aluminum foil, using it while cooking is even more dangerous. In fact, There's an established safe amount of aluminum the human body can manage daily, and that's 20 milligrams per pound of body weight a day. When you wrap your food in aluminum foil and cook it this way, the amount of this substance that leaks into the food significantly exceeds the permissible level. And if you add acidic lemon to the fish you're baking, it starts aggressively breaking down layers and layers of aluminum, letting them seep into your dinner. That's why you should use foil only to wrap cold foods and leftovers in. Try this safe alternative instead: glass cookware. This is another safe option to consider. It'll never release anything toxic when heated, it doesn't hold on to any old flavors or odors, and it's not only durable, but also eco-friendly. The only downside of glass cookware is that it isn't non-stick, but that's just a small price to pay for your health and safety. 3. Copper cookware. You've probably seen copper cookware in stores and noticed how pretty it was. You're likely to have heard of its amazing conductive properties that allow for quick and even heating. But did you know that copper can actually be dangerous when used in cookware? Just like with a lot of metals, the human body needs copper in small amounts. But if the body gets too much of the stuff, it can lead to life-threatening complications. And copper cookware, especially when it isn't coated, can easily send you to the ER with a bad case of metal poisoning. And that's because it can release copper when you cook acidic foods. So if you've just enjoyed some fish and lemon juice or stewed tomatoes cooked with an uncoated copper pot, and you find yourself suffering from extremely unpleasant symptoms such as vomiting blood, lightheadedness, yellowy skin, or gastrointestinal distress, among others, call 911 immediately. And even if your cookware is coated, the coating often contains nickel, which is another toxic element. Nickel exposure can lead to problems with the liver and kidneys. It can also cause high blood pressure, heart disease, and an increased risk of lung cancer. Try this safe alternative instead: stainless steel. This is a great cookware option. It's relatively lightweight, scratch-resistant, and comes in non-stick varieties. It'll also last you a really long time. Just make sure you're buying food-grade stainless steel, since this is the only type that doesn't contain any nickel or chromium. 4. Ceramic-coated cookware. This type of cookware looks nice and seems like a safe option at first. After all, 100% ceramic is completely safe for cooking. However, ceramic coating usually hides some pretty nasty stuff in it. Soft ceramic coating isn't durable enough and starts chipping after a few months of daily use. When this happens, lead and cadmium sometimes found in the coating will end up in your food and thus in your body. Lead poisoning is one of the most dangerous types of metal poisoning and can result in abdominal pain, headaches, infertility, and often other health complications. In severe cases, it can even lead to coma and death. As for cadmium, it's toxic even in the tiniest amounts. If it gets into your body, it'll negatively impact all your various systems, starting with the cardiovascular and reproductive ones, and then moving on to your kidneys, eyes, and brain. In men, it messes with testosterone levels and damages prostate function. It can also do a real number on your bones. Yeah, none of this sounds very pleasant, does it? Even when ceramic coating is lead-free or doesn't contain cadmium, chipped cookware can still present a danger because it's usually neurotoxic aluminum hiding under that coating. Try this safe alternative instead: 100% ceramic cookware. This is one of the best and safest options out there since it's made with completely natural materials. It isn't toxic and it won't chip or peel off. It's also non-stick and dishwasher safe. Its only downside is that 100% ceramic can be pretty costly, but it will last you a very long time. Plus, after everything we've talked about today and all those horrible symptoms caused by toxic cookware, don't you think it's worth the investment?
This is Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 14. It says, "Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it. Pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not what they stumble. And that's Esau Edom. I mean, you know, he if he doesn't do some wickedness or cause somebody to fall, then he loses sleep. You know, but yeah, brothers need to pay attention to what you're using to cook your food with, and because he's set up these traps and snares for us, and stay away from that microwave, stay away from Teflon cookware. The shit is toxic. But with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'Shem, Ruach Kadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Shalom.